Hi, everyone. So I just took out my lesson 7 problem set from my Blue Spine Learn book. So I ripped mine out because it's easier to work that way. You might want to do the same. So let's take a look at question 1. The directions say fill the table and then round to the given place. Label the number lines to show your work. Circle the rounded number. Lots of steps there. So let's walk through this together. So the first part says fill in the table. Okay? Question 1, our number is going to be 3.1, or 3 and 1/10. Got it. Then round to the given place. So there are 3 parts to this, and I don't like how little room they gave us. So I also have my whiteboard underneath that I might use to help me solve. Label the number lines to show your work. Circle the rounded number. Okay, let's get started. So on A, they're wanting us to round to our hundredths place. Take a look on our place value chart here. How many hundredths do we have? Hundredths? None. So you can fill in a 0 there as a placeholder. Just like we did before, I'm going to use everything that is from the hundredths going forward. So I'm going to use that whole thing. So I know my bottom number here is going to be 3.10. That's what I started with. That goes on the bottom. Then I need to figure out what's going to be my top number. I need to add a hundredth. So if I have 0 hundredths right now, what would be one more? 100th. So I'm going to add 3.11. So I have 0 hundredths in this one, 100th in this one, and everything else stayed. Here's a little bit tricky part. Now we need to figure out what goes in the middle of that. So right now we have 10 hundredths and 11 hundredths. Is there anything in between 10 and 11? There's not. So this is where my trick with the midpoints comes in. I'm going to add a 0 there. Now this is no longer 10 and 11. This is 100 and 110. So now I need to think, what goes in between 100 and 110? We would count it. You go 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110. There's 10 numbers between those. Halfway between 10 is 5. So our number is going to stay that 3, and in between 100 and 110 is 105. Our last step, we just need to figure out where our original number, where that goes in relation to this. So is it more or less than 105? 3 and 105. So on this one, if it helps, you could also add a 0 here. And look, 3 and 100, 3 and 105, it's going to be less. In fact, look here, 3 and 100. It is at the very bottom here. It is the exact same as my bottom point. So now I'm rounding. Is this number closest to 3 and 100 thousandths or 3 and 110 thousandths? It's definitely closer to this one. In fact, it's the same number. So I'm going to circle it. I know it's so teeny tiny to write here, and I apologize. I wish I could have made these. So silly, we're rounding it to our hundredths. There wasn't anything there, so it's going to stay that same. Now let's do our tenths. I'm going to rewrite my number here. 3.1. It's my original number. Now I'm rounding to the nearest tenths. So I'm going to find it on my place value chart. Here's my tenths. going down. So that means I'm going to use that number and everything before it. So I'm going to write that as my bottom. And then up top, I need to think, if I'm rounding to my nearest tenth, what would be one more? So right now I have 1/10. Add another tenth, I would have 2/10. And again, if money helps you think of this, this would be like $3.10, $3.20. In fact, I'm going to use that because there's nothing in between 1/10 and 2/10. So I'm going to add that 0. Now there's something between 10 cents and 20 cents. So it's still going to be $3. What's in between 10 and 20 cents? 15. Again, where does our number lie? 3.1. And if it helps you, you could add a 0. $3.10. Where is that in relation to these numbers? Again, it's the exact same as this bottom one. So I'm going to round down to $3.10 or 3.1. So in fact, I might rewrite my numbers here. Just ran out of lead. There we go. So this one I wanted to round to the hundredths. So I'm just going to rewrite this number so it only goes to the hundredths. Doesn't matter if you add that extra 0. This one I want to round to the nearest tenth, so I'm going to write it just to the tenth. Don't need that extra 0. I know these problems are kind of silly because they haven't changed. And let's do this next one. 3.1, writing it again. Rounding to the nearest tens, not tenths, tens. So look on our place value chart. Where's our tens? Here. I have nothing. So I'm going to do this number and going to the left, but there's nothing before that. So I either have 0 or what would be one more 10? I'd have one more than 0 is 1/10, which looks like this. Now, in between 0 and 10 would be 5. Where is 5 in relation to 3.1? Is 3.1 more than 5 or less than 5? It is less than. It would be somewhere, maybe here. If it's less than my midpoint, so 4 or less, let it rest. So my answer there is going to be 0. Such a weird problem. I don't really know why they had us round to these, but it's good practice. So I'm going to have you, the video is going to end, and I want you to see what you can do on question 2. You can use your whiteboard if you want to solve on there, because when you come back, we're going to do this one together. All right, good luck, everybody. Try your best.